Jersey, that bit of the British Isles that drifts dangerously close to France. It's a paradox. Resolutely British, yet home to continental farmhouses and cuisine. Warned by the Gulf Stream, it's a good place to learn water sports and check out the golden beaches. It's dotted with round Martello towers, a legacy from the Second World War. And to make the most of its rural charm, Jersey has created a 45-mile network of green lanes, where pedestrians, cyclists and horse riders have priority, and motorists are restricted to 15 miles per hour. First, you've got to find a place to stay. Look into the Jersey Heritage Trust. They've got some very cool properties to rent, such as the Corbière Radio Tower. The 6-story, 180-foot observation post was built by the Germans in 1941. It's now a smart holiday let, with panoramic views of the southwest of Jersey. Richard Bates, who managed the renovation, gives us the lowdown.
Well, it is totally unique because you have the lighthouse in front of you. It dates back, I think, to the 14th century. The waves actually cover the lighthouse in the wintertime. It is a great spot because most of the tidal currents meet at this point. All the shipping obviously comes around, the ferries pass by, there's continuous shipping going backwards and forwards. Plus the weather aspect. In the wintertime it would be amazing here. Some French boats came past the other day, saw it and came up to see if they could actually go in because they could see the construction going on, and they all want to rent it immediately because they love it so much.
If you want to be right on the beach, the Barger Ground is a concrete folly on St One's Bay. It was built in 1935. Shaped like a stone boat, it sleeps 4 in its bunks. The Davenport family were there renting when we dropped in to see the property and to speak to them about it.
Well, it's different than any other property that we've had. It's been well presented, the heritage part of it is excellent.
It's all 1930s style, which we thought was lovely when we walked in. Like furniture and things not all being ripped out and replaced with modern furniture. It's completely by itself on the beach, which is fantastic. The situation is fantastic. We've looked at the history, seen pictures of German soldiers all having parties in here and things, and that was quite interesting. It's just a very unusual place to stay.
It gets more sunshine than anywhere else in the United Kingdom, and that great climate means that crops, cows and crustaceans thrive here. Yep, it's a foodie's heaven. We caught up with fisherman Sean Faulkner. He keeps his fish fresh in an old World War II bunker on St One's Bay. Sean gave us the lowdown on Jersey's love affair with La Mer.
The shellfish and the fish that comes out of the waters around here are first class. There are lots of seafood restaurants on the island, and there are some which are either trying to get Michelin stars or who have already got them. And they absolutely swear by local produce, whether it comes from the land or from the sea. I like to think it's one of the things that bring people to the island. We're not that far from England, but we're even closer to France. And in France there's a great culture of eating lots of seafood, and the French come over in their drones specifically to come and enjoy the seafood that's here, and the beaches and the countryside and everything that goes with it.
Which is a particular Jersey speciality?
Conger soup, which is made, you know, the conger is a large eel. The head and the tail is used to make a really rich soup. One of the things that goes into it is marigold petals, and it's more of a garnish at the end, but it also gives a slightly bitter flavour.
Faulkner Fisheries also has an unusual neighbour, an octogenarian French native, Jeannette Réault. She's still growing Jersey raw potatoes in the traditional way.
We put seaweed on it, and there isn't many people who put seaweed on the ground anymore because it's too expensive and too much hard work, and so because we the only one who put seaweed on it, people tell the other people and they got better taste.
Jersey doesn't just have a good culinary tradition, there's also local wine, produced on the British Isles' most southerly vineyards. Gilly Beresford, the general manager of Lamar Vineyards, shows us around.
The vineyards were first started back in the early 70s. It was an old farmhouse, an old Jersey farmhouse, built in the traditional granite. The fields were planted up about 1972-73 with vines, which they experimented with, and over the years we've managed to find the vines that provide good crops for us, and we're now producing white wine, and we've just started producing red wine.
You can try out some of the local food and wine at 190 cafes, country pubs and modern bistros. Not bad for an island that's only 45 square kilometres. Jersey may be synonymous with a variety of potato and a breed of cow, but one of the most curious island delicacies is an ominous-looking concoction. Resident guide and furniture maker Remy Corriard is going to tell us more about it.
When people come to Jersey, one of the tastes that you should capture on the island is a local product called black butter. But it isn't butter at all. It's actually made from apples, licorice, herbs. It's got the consistency of like lemon curd, but you can use it on a savoury, on cold meats like mutton and ham, as well as on your toast.
Jersey was the only slice of the British Isles to be occupied during World War II. This legacy has now become an integral part of Jersey's tourist trail. An underground hospital dug by slave labour is the most striking attraction. Paul Simmons, the manager, showed us around its whitewashed tunnels.
Jersey War tunnels provide a true account of the 5 years of German occupation in Jersey during the Second World War. You're taken immediately into 1933 and the events leading up to the Second World War and eventually the German occupation of Jersey. The original wards and rooms in the German underground hospital are converted into galleries which tell a chronological account of the 5 years of German occupation. The highlights, I believe, are the first-hand accounts, the perspectives of the individuals who actually suffered under the German occupation, and it's interspersed well with audio-visual commentary and also a number of areas of interactivity for the younger audience. It's an absolute unique experience. We have a museum within a museum almost. The actual site itself is a piece of living history. We've also introduced the Captive Island exhibition, which will give the visitor from absolutely no knowledge of the German occupation of Jersey, they can come out the other end 2.5 hours later having a broad understanding, well-balanced and objective view of what happened during the 5 years of occupation.
You've stayed, eaten and seen the sights, but above all, a place is about its people, and Jersey is no different, and a few words of Jerriese, the local language, helps. It's as close to spoken 13th century French as you'll get, and Sid and Dulcie Poindexter from Morel Farm gave me a crash course.
How do you say hello, how are you then?
Comment toi? C'était né en Jersey. C'était ici toute ma vie. I've been born in Jersey. I've been here all my life.
How close is it to French?
Normandy French. C'est un plaisir de vous rencontrer. Regagnez la prochaine fois. It's a pleasure to meet you. Call again when you come back to the island.
Have a good time?
Yes!
What's so good about it?
The atmosphere!
And why should they come?
Because it's so fun! And you never forget it ever!
Finally, there's a calendar of festivals on the island. One of Jersey's highlights is the Battle of Flowers. Now over a century young, it rocks its way down the main street of the capital, St Helier, in midsummer. Think floral floats and marching majorettes, and add street performers from across Europe. We caught up with some of the organisers, judges and participants.
Everybody says every year it's the very one best, but there's a lot of humour behind this battle, and that's really fun. It's carnival, people love it. All the parishes, they get together for days, for weeks, they just work and prepare everything. And it brings people together. It's enormous fun. You have to be there to really enjoy it. Because it's really unique in all of Europe. Apart from Brazil, you won't see anything like this.
The history of the battle started in 1902 in celebration of the coronation of Edward VII. The floats are all depictions of cartoon characters, funny moments. They're all carved out of things like paper mache and polystyrene, and then covered with flowers. Hundreds, literally thousands of hours of free time being put to it. Flowers, 150,000 blooms on a major float, and I would say at the last count probably something in the order of 5,000 to 10,000 people in the island are committed to battle. We hold a competition in the early part of the year to elect a young lady to represent Jersey and to be Miss Jersey Battle of Flowers.
It's the biggest floral parade of its kind within Europe, which amazes me considering how small the island is within Europe itself. You tend to find also people do come and see it once and then they're back again and again and again. I think anybody who hasn't seen it, when they hear of this floral parade on this tiny island, I think probably imagine it's going to be like well dressing or some kind of little village fete. Until they actually see it, do they then appreciate the sheer size and scale of the event.